that America and Britain are becoming this generation's most totalitarian and tyrannical fascist governments on planet Earth.
Let me back you up. Let me back you up and then finish because it's so important. They've had British government and U.S. government studies and big university studies. I'm sure you're mentioning the same thing that just came out in the last month admitting England's number 5 police state in the world. U.S. is number 6. I mean, there's only a few like North Korea and Zimbabwe ahead of us. I mean, the whole world knows we are under hardcore tyranny, and it's getting worse and worse. And people said, oh, well, you still got your free speech. And now they're starting to restrict our free speech.
We don't have free speech at all. When a guy can get sued $37 million because he wrote a book and expressed his opinions on television, we don't have free speech in America. No,
I agree. Finish your point, though, that I interrupted about the Nazi Germany parallel.
Well, the point that people in America need to know, because the debate is, hey, isn't it good that we keep these prisoners in Guantanamo? Isn't it good that the government would be given powers to protect us? And it sounds really good. The problem is, when they take your brother-in-law away, then what are you going to do?
Well, and now they admit the Patriot Act and Homeland Security is for gun owners, conservatives, Ron Paul supporters, and returning veterans. We're told it's for these brown people.
It's designed specifically not to be used. It's designed to be used as an intimidation and fear tactic, just like the Gestapo during the Second World War. People were afraid to have conversations in coffee shops because if they said anything against the Führer, the Gestapo, if they were listening, or one of their Hitler youth was listening in and reported you to Gestapo, they would take you in for questioning. And generally the first time, they wouldn't do anything. But you would crap your pants out of fear. And that's what it's about. It's about.
And by the way, they're, as you know, they're now having Obama's youth brigades that are in military formations and uniforms, red and black, knock on your door and ask, we're just canvassing. Do you support the leader, the president, the Fuhrer?
Yeah, Chairman Obama.
What do the elites think of Obama? Because I confirmed from Estel and Ann Tucker, he was at Bilderberg last year. Did you hear anything about him at Bilderberg last year?
Well, the reason he was selected over Hillary is simple. Hillary had a huge amount of people that hated her.
Negatives, yeah.
Okay, and Obama didn't. And they also picked Obama because the bottom line is they were looking for somebody who is a great speaker and who's going to persuade people. You know, he reads that teleprompter so well, doesn't he? I mean, he really does. I mean, and this is what people don't get. If you, listen, I was with a couple senators, and I was with them to see what they do all day. It's a professional acting job. Do you spend 70% of their day is for raising money? They don't read any of the bills they sign. They don't write any of the bills they sponsor.
Unbelievable.
It's a complete acting job in Washington.
What about the tipping point? You know, it's not just that the good guys are going to help us win. 1% started the war in 1775. 5% won the war. We don't need a majority. We've got way more than 5%. Probably like 20% know what's going on now from my own gauge. I can get your expert take on that and really want it. I'm interested to know. But there's going to be a lot of people who are members of the elite, different strata of the elite, are going to also see that we're starting to win, and they're going to jump ship over to our side. I'm already seeing more and more of that. So believing we can win and get going in the direction of liberty again, a tipping point, getting the pendulum swinging, that's really doable if we just believe in it and act like winners.
Well, what you just said there is very, very astute. And this is what most people don't understand. If you look, for example, at all the wars, Switzerland's always neutral, and nobody touches them. Why? Because that's where all the cash is. But every war, it doesn't matter who wins. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's irrelevant. So if at our levels, we don't care who wins the war. It's a yawn. It's like, okay, it doesn't matter because
it's who profits.
We're like Don King. We own both fighters. It doesn't matter.
It's about playing that war, playing all the sides to your best profit.
Correct. And it doesn't matter who wins because we own both sides.
And that's why they want the Afghan and Iraq war to go on, because it's nothing but a black hole to pump trillions into.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those wars are, I mean, keep in mind, America goes into wars around the world primarily to secure money for contractors and pay off friends. I mean, that's why do you think France and Germany got so pissed off when America went into Iraq? Because they're the ones who had 90% of the contracts.
Absolutely, but now they're not as...
And America went in and said, sorry, we're taking over the contracts. And that's why France and Germany got really mad.
But suddenly they're on board with Iraq because they were given some of the contracts back.
Correct. That's what people don't understand. I've been to some... When we went into Iraq, before we went in, people don't know this, but there were like group meetings, how to profit from the upcoming Iraqi war. And these are business symposiums with directors and corporate executives from infrastructure companies and oil companies and so forth, all getting together. I was there talking about how we're going to go into this country. I mean, you had John Perkins on, the economic hitman. He's brilliant explaining this. He was right there in the front lines of Venezuela
listen.
And Ecuador.
Kevin Trudeau, I mean, I've seen in the Enron, smartest guys in the room, they have video of those meetings. You know what? I twisted your arm, but you said you'd stay longer. Do one more short segment so we can put a nice bow on this.
Of course.
One of the most amazing interviews I've ever done. It's with Kevin Trudeau. Just absolutely amazing. We'll give you all the websites and a lot more on the other side. Here's one of them, naturalcures.com. My site's INFOWARS.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Boy, he is something else. You know why the man is after him. Kevin Trudeau, I can find no fault with this guy. I just agree with him on every front. You know, also, the nouveau riche, the new wealth, the middle class, some of the even ultra-rich who are new money, they realize the elite's waging war on them. What about how the globalists are now, after 500 years, going after Switzerland, shaking down the smaller accounts but leaving the big juicy ones alone? And then David Rockefeller's bragging about they're going to end all tax havens, set a global tax rate to the OECD, end, quote, tax havens, open announcements of world government with these bankers running it. I think this tiny elite has really going to get their butt kicked, and I've seen the shift because they're waging war on not just the middle class and the poor. They're going after a lot of big money.
Well, there's an interesting concept about this, and let me just put it to you this way. From the guys that I hang around with, I mean, you know, maybe they manage a $10 billion hedge fund. You know, one guy last year, you know, netted a couple $100 million. And when I chat with these guys about taxes, they laugh because to them it's all smoke and mirrors. Look, we pay a little bit of tax, but it's nothing. It's nothing like people think we're going to pay because I mean, the U.S. tax code, nobody can even understand it.
Well, it's written for the elites to pay just a few percent, and the people are paying 40.
Correct. I mean, listen, I have corporations in Switzerland, and, you know, they have the best roads in the world. You're in Chicago or in Austin, I was down there. It's like driving on, as Mancow says, it's like driving on the surface of the moon. There's, you know, craters everywhere, right? Well, I'm driving around Germany, and I cannot find not one pothole. Not one. Now, guess what? They have to pay for that. They build the roads to last 25 years, not 5 like they do in the U.S. So you have to pay for that. So when I set up a company in Switzerland, for example, they say, look, the taxes are 10% or 12% or 15%, and you pay it because there's good infrastructure and things. You no problem. It's like buying a good steak.
Yeah, here it's a scam.
But you get good value for your money. In the U.S., when you pay your taxes, it goes paying interest on the government's debt, and it's going to the bankers. You're not getting any infrastructure.
Are Americans, Kevin Trudeau, are Americans known as the schmucks of the world now?
The suckers. The word is suckers. The Americans are the suckers. There's no question about it.
Is it because we were so free and, you know, had it so good that we kind of sat on our laurels?
I think it's because the media in America brainwashes people to have them believe things should be a certain way. The majority of Americans have never left the United States. Let me just give you an example. You're driving down the road in America, right? You stop at a gas station. You go to the bathroom. Is it the cleanest place in the world?
No.
I mean, it's disgusting, right? You're in Europe. You stop in a gas station. You walk in. You go to the bathroom. It's spotless. There's an attendant there. Okay? You're in America. You stop at a gas station. You want something to eat? Oh, how about this 3-week-old sandwich in the back? Right? I mean, do you know what I'm talking about? There's like no food. In Europe, you walk into a gas station, you want something to eat, there's a chef